Who would have imagined that a 21-year-old from the Philippines could become the biggest talking point at Wimbledon, without even reaching the final? Even more surprising, the moment Alex Eala walked off the court after her heartbreaking defeat, it felt like the entire tournament changed. The excitement faded. Social media conversations shifted. Fans who had been glued to every match suddenly lost interest. Some even claimed ticket demand dropped after her exit. Whether every rumor was true or not almost didn't matter anymore, because one thing had already become undeniable. Alex Eala had transformed from a rising tennis prospect into the player everyone wanted to watch. For generations, Wimbledon has proudly carried the belief that no individual player is bigger than the tournament itself. Legends have come and gone. Champions have lifted trophies, retired, and been replaced by the next generation. The grass courts have always remained the center of attention. But the 2026 championships created something no one expected. During one unforgettable week, the biggest conversation wasn't about who would become champion. Instead, millions of fans around the world were talking about the young Filipina who had already captured their hearts. Long before her incredible run, Alex Eala was already considered one of the brightest young talents in tennis. She trained at the prestigious Rafael Nadal Academy, built a reputation as a fearless competitor, and quietly climbed through the professional ranks. Tennis insiders knew she had enormous potential, but very few believed her breakthrough would arrive on the sport's most prestigious stage. Wimbledon has a way of exposing weaknesses, especially for young players. Grass courts reward experience, composure, and confidence. Yet Alex stepped onto those famous lawns looking like she belonged there from the very first point. Every match seemed to reveal another level of her game. Her movement looked effortless. Her shot-making became more fearless with every round. But what impressed people even more was her mentality. She never looked overwhelmed by the occasion. Playing inside packed stadiums, facing elite opponents, carrying the hopes of an entire nation, none of it seemed to shake her confidence. Then came the match that changed everything. Standing across the net was defending Wimbledon champion Iga Świątek, one of the biggest stars in women's tennis. Most experts expected another routine victory for the champion. Instead, fans witnessed one of the greatest upsets of the tournament. Alex refused to be intimidated. She fought for every point, matched Swiatek's intensity, and stunned the tennis world by taking control of the match with fearless attacking tennis. Every winner she struck brought louder cheers from the crowd. Every replay flooded social media within minutes. The impossible was suddenly happening. By the time the final point was played, Alex Eala wasn't simply another promising player anymore. She had become the story of Wimbledon. Sports networks around the world rushed to cover her remarkable journey. Highlight videos exploded across YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and X. Tennis analysts began asking the same question: had women's tennis just found its next global superstar? The excitement wasn't limited to traditional tennis fans either. Across the Philippines, millions stayed awake through impossible time zones just to watch her matches live. Families gathered around televisions. Restaurants streamed her games. Social media feeds filled with messages of pride from Filipinos living in North America, Europe, Australia, and the Middle East. For many young athletes watching from home, Alex wasn't simply winning matches. She was proving that someone from their country could compete against the very best in the world. That emotional connection became one of the biggest reasons her popularity exploded so quickly. She wasn't trying to become famous. She wasn't creating controversy or chasing headlines. Her tennis did all the talking. Off the court, fans admired her humility just as much as her performances. During award appearances, she proudly celebrated her Filipino heritage. One of her most memorable looks featured a beautiful dress created by her own uncle in just 2 days. It wasn't simply fashion. It became another reminder that she remained deeply connected to her roots despite performing on the biggest stages in professional tennis. She also became known for intentionally incorporating Filipino culture into her appearance on court. Whether through specially designed clothing or meaningful messages embroidered into her equipment, Alex consistently found subtle ways to represent her country. Those small details resonated with millions of supporters who saw themselves reflected in her success. As her victories continued, so did the hype. Every sports show wanted to discuss Alex Eala. Every tennis podcast featured her name. Every highlight package included her biggest moments. Analysts who had barely mentioned her before Wimbledon suddenly dedicated entire episodes to explaining why she had captured the imagination of tennis fans worldwide. Many pointed to something tennis had been searching for over the last several years: authenticity. The sport has produced incredible champions, but genuine connections with entirely new audiences are much harder to create. Alex seemed to accomplish that almost overnight. She attracted longtime tennis followers while simultaneously bringing millions of first-time viewers into the sport. Then came the match against Jasmine Parolini. Unlike many heartbreaking defeats, there was no controversy.
No questionable officiating.
No dramatic injury timeout.
No emotional meltdown.
Just two outstanding athletes battling through three incredibly competitive sets. Alex fought until the very end. She showed resilience. She showed courage. She showed exactly why so many people had fallen in love with her game. But this time, Parolini proved slightly stronger when it mattered most. Normally, that would have ended the story. Instead, it started an even bigger conversation. Within hours of Alex's elimination, social media became flooded with claims that the atmosphere around Wimbledon had completely changed. Screenshots showing falling resale ticket prices began circulating online. Fans debated whether television interest had softened. Others argued the tournament simply didn't feel the same anymore. Whether every statistic was perfectly accurate became almost irrelevant. What mattered was perception. Millions of people genuinely felt something important had disappeared once Eala was no longer competing. That alone revealed the extraordinary impact she had made in less than 2 weeks. Even tennis legends took notice. Roger Federer was spotted watching her matches. Commentators praised not only her shot-making but also her fearless mentality under pressure. Hall of Famer Martina Navratilova complimented her competitiveness while pointing out that her serve could still improve. A reminder that despite already defeating one of the world's best players, Alex remains far from her finished product. Perhaps that's the most exciting part of her story. She isn't dominating because she has already reached her peak. She's doing it while still developing. Imagine how dangerous she could become after another 2 or 3 years of experience. Her Wimbledon run also transformed her career financially. Prize money reached new heights, while her world ranking climbed toward a career-best position inside the top 30. For Philippine tennis, it represented a historic milestone unlike anything the country had witnessed before. But rankings never fully explain influence. Influence is measured by how many people suddenly care about your matches. Influence is measured by how many young children pick up a tennis racket because of you. Influence is measured by broadcasters changing schedules, sponsors making phone calls, and tournament directors hoping you'll stay in the draw as long as possible. By every one of those measurements, Alex Eala had already become one of the biggest winners of Wimbledon, even without lifting the trophy. And perhaps that's why her story feels so different from the usual Cinderella run. Most surprise stars disappear after one magical tournament. Alex left people convinced that this was only the beginning. After her loss, she didn't make excuses. She calmly admitted there were parts of her game that still needed improvement, especially her serve. Instead of focusing on disappointment, she spoke about learning, growing, and preparing for the future. That mature mindset impressed fans just as much as her victories. It showed she wasn't satisfied with simply making headlines. She wanted lasting greatness. Now the spotlight shifts toward the US Open. The expectations are completely different. Nobody sees Alex Eala as an unknown outsider anymore. Opponents will prepare specifically for her. Crowds will expect brilliance. Television cameras will follow her every move. The pressure will be greater than ever before. But that's exactly what happens when a player stops being a promising prospect and becomes one of the biggest attractions in world tennis. If Wimbledon 2026 proved anything, it's that championships are decided by scoreboards, but superstars are created by the emotions they leave behind. And when millions of fans feel the tournament has lost some of its magic the moment one player exits, that says something statistics never can. Alex Eala may not have lifted the Wimbledon trophy, but she accomplished something just as remarkable. She convinced the tennis world that wherever she plays next, that's where the Real story begins.